So, about to wind down the night and go in here, play some Call of Duty before I go to bed, jump online with some of the boys, and I posted a throttle body spacer that I found on eBay, and I want to give it a shot. It looks like a lot of the same ones that I've seen other people use on their setups with the 462 valve, and they like them. So I found this one, and it had a little bit of a twist, a swirl to the inside of it. And I remember thinking back, somebody left a comment. I mean, I talk about things that happen on the channel, so I don't reference people's names unless they're being assholes about something. Somebody left a comment and said, I think it's a waste of time, it's a waste of money. Another guy said, I agree with that, I'm a Ford diesel tech. I get that you guys have opinions about things and that maybe you've done certain things in your life or whatever, but what I've done is a lot of testing on stuff like this. I worked at a speed shop. When I first went through, I'd been in the field for years, but I had no paperwork to go along with my experience. So I started going to UTI. And one of the programs at UTI is they take you to two different hot rod programs. Basically, you have a chance to build whatever kind of car you want in there as a group, and you do performance modification to it. You take it over to the dyno, you test it, you see what it does, you bring it back. It's a step by step by step by step learning experience. It's not like you're guessing. This is thousands of dollars going into this stuff. So the car we picked was the 2010 Camaro SS with a 6.2 liter. Was that LS3? The first modification we did to it was the full Can-N cold air intake. We got about 11 horsepower, something like 9 to 12 foot-pounds of torque, somewhere in there. So we unbolt everything, put it back to stock. The next modification that we did was a throttle body spacer. Just a decent throttle body spacer. It had a little swirl twist to it, stock intake, stock exhaust, stock everything. We ended up gaining 9 horsepower and like 6 or 7 foot-pounds of torque off just that throttle body spacer alone. And then we ended up taking that back off and we put a full exhaust system on it all the way back. It didn't increase anything. The numbers were the exact same. I don't know, it was like 365 horse and like 390 foot-pounds or 380 foot-pounds of torque. So no matter what, our stock baseline was the same exact with that exhaust. The factory exhaust that comes on the Camaro is a very open exhaust. It's, muffled. It takes a lot of the sound away, but it's a pretty free-flowing exhaust overall. And when we put this like $1,200-$1,300 exhaust system on it, it did not help the vehicle's performance at all. But when we took the exhaust, the Can-N, the spacer, and threw it all together, I mean, we had like 30-some horse and right at like 30-some foot-pounds of torque as well. They almost lay on top of each other with all of it together. But you're talking probably close to $1,400-$1,500 worth of bolt-ons at that point, just to make 35-40 horse. But when people say, oh, throttle body spacers don't work on fuel-injected engines, that's not true. They do work on the throttle body spacer that we put on there had that twist effect to it, right? And basically what it does is it increases the volume of the plenum, so no more storage capacity can fit in there, just a little bit. And the way the air comes in and helps twirl and mix up the fuel and stuff like that that's inside the system, it helps actually create a more, what would you call it, symmetrical mixture, so the burn is better instead of just relying on regular turbulence. There's a reason why they say on certain like intake manifolds and stuff like that, like if you have a port injected versus direct injected manifold, you can have glass smooth. Where port injected, you have to have some kind of texture to the surface that the air is coming in, because it has to create some kind of turbulence to create a fuel mixture as everything's going through that runner, right? So with that throttle body spacer on the outside and it creating a little turbulence before it even makes it inside those, it's already accelerating the effect of the fuel-air mixture. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, that's just a waste of time, that's just this, it's not. Different applications can see different results for things. So just because we've experienced one thing or two things in our life doesn't mean that's the golden rule. Like, it's not going to work for anything else. Some of these Panther guys are figuring out what little setups on that motor are effective on the 462 valve, and it's showing them that they can get a little bit better fuel mileage, a little bit better throttle response out of something, which that's one of the benefits to that spacer. One of the guys was saying, he was like, I noticed that a lot of the lag whenever I'd go to get into the throttle, it took a lot of that out. It's almost like it's just like a quicker response now, just putting that spacer in there. Now, regardless if that's true or not, don't be so closed-minded to things. You know, I thought that expensive exhaust system was for sure going to free up some power and stuff with that Camaro. It did not at all. I was completely wrong. What it was the exhaust was really open on that car, but the intake side was kind of restricted. Well, now that I have the exhaust all opened up on my car, except I'm going to try to get the Stainless Works long tube headers, but I have all the exhaust from the cat back all chopped off of that thing and opened back up and done professionally. Now I want to do something on the intake side, just to see what kind of numbers I get with a 93 octane tune, and then get a feel from there. But I think it'd be something cool for the channel, you know. I'll post something, or I'll say, hey, this is what I'm going to do next, and people are like, oh, you're just wasting your money. You have to realize it's not about what your opinion is. It's not about what you think when it comes to that type of series with the Panther platform car. It's about what people have asked me to do, and I'm trying to entertain the audience. So the chatter on the whole don't do it, you're wasting your money, that's not going to work. I'm still going to do it anyway. I'm not asking you for your opinion on what I should or shouldn't do. I'm just saying, look, this is what I found, this is what I'm going to use, this is what you should expect on one of the next videos coming up. That's it. But, you know, different strokes for different folks, right? So just because we did something that didn't work for us doesn't mean somebody else doesn't know a better way and it's going to work for them. Or maybe we didn't know about a specific application, you know. What we ended up doing with that Camaro when everything was said and done is we left the exhaust on, we left all the intake stuff on, and then we actually added what was that that Nitrous throttle body plate. It's got the two jets on each side. It's got the little pin hanging out, and there's a plate, and then there's a double solenoid set up. It's set off a switch inside the vehicle. It's been a while since I did this. I know whenever I got the vehicle on the dyno, I would purge it. So we'd get our run going, and then I don't know if it was set off a certain RPM and a certain gear that it would go off, but with the exhaust, with the intake, the throttle body spacer, the 100 shot of nitrous, this vehicle ended up making like 540 horsepower and like 560 foot-pounds of torque with the K&N, the throttle body spacer, the nitrous setup, and the full exhaust. It really opened that car up. Like almost 200 horse gain out of everything, and you know, right at damn near close to 200 foot-pounds of torque. Just on a 100 shot, cold air intake, throttle body spacer, and I think they called it a fogger plate, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. We're talking back in 2013, 2014. But everybody thought for sure that little throttle body plate, it wouldn't do anything, and cold air wouldn't. Actually, in conjunction, all those things working together, it made quite a bit of difference. So remember to keep an open mind.